This is the Door Knocker Podcast, where we dive into the explosive growth of the sales industry. We take an in-depth look with the industry's top talent to uncover what has made them successful as salespeople, leaders, and entrepreneurs. We believe all of life's opportunities are just behind the next door. With that being said, opportunities knocking. I'm your host, Zach Ross. So today, per Pat recommendation and somebody that I've been following on Instagram that I've been wanting to talk to for a while, I've got Nico. Nico, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody right now?
Yeah, what's going on? Hey, my name's Nico. My last name is Van Slyke. I've been in the industry for a little over 2.5 years, 3 years now. And I'm just pumped to be here. Regional co-partner with, like Zach said, Pat Mendes. And we'll go into the story, but I wanted to first say thank you, Zach, for getting me on here, getting me on your platform. I shared with this a little bit earlier with you, but when we came over to Vivint, we'll get into that story. People kept telling me, and I'm not in no way comparing myself to any of these people because they're the greats, but people would tell me, dude, when you and Pat come over, you guys are like the Jeff Mendes and Casey Baugh. And I'm like, who the hell are these people? I know, and they kept saying it. I'm like, who is this? So luckily enough, Kenny and John got him on our Casey as one of the speakers on one of our leadership calls. And I'm like, dude, this guy is sick. Yeah. This guy is sick. And then, so I started following him, and then he posted the following week. He did a podcast on the Door Knockers podcast. And that podcast changed my paradigm and my perspective on it raised the level of what can be accomplished and achieved. And I was like, holy shit. And so I started listening to all of them, Bobby Taylor, John Taylor, pulling little nuggets, like change my thinking on your reps, like from John Taylor saying, hey, investing in real estate, which is never a bad idea, but investing in real estate will give you, $200 or $300 return. Investing in one person on your team will give you that return as well. So I was like, holy shit, he's right. And so like this is like by far, and I'm not just blowing smoke, like the most exciting podcast I've ever listened to. So I make sure I, learn from all these people. So Casey, John, Bobby, everyone, Brody, like all the people that have been on here, like thank you so much for your genuinity and just being vulnerable and sharing on this platform. And thank you, Zach, for having this. I'm freaking pumped.
I appreciate it, man, and I appreciate your energy. And this has been it's been fun for me, man, because it's you and I both come from different industries.
Sure.
And it's been pretty cool to see, especially on the doors, because people, the best of the best are very valued human beings, but they're also like, they know what it's like to be out there, right? And so they know they're willing to give their time to us. And so I'm just as pumped as you are. So how old are you right now, Nico?
I'm 32.
32, cool.
Yeah.
So what you've been in the doors a couple years. So let's talk kind of like early days. So what was your life before? I know you got the fitness thing going on. So what was that? Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I grew up playing sports, football, basketball, baseball. Was going to go to college to play football, and realized after first semester, I was like, hey, I want to get my career started. Went into kinesiology over at Cal State Northridge, and was really big in the fitness industry. At the time, I was working at Paramount Pictures as a on-set celebrity trainer as my intern. After school, I got offered a position as a AFM, assistant fitness manager at a branch called 24 Hour Fitness, or not 24, 24 Hour Fitness.
Wow. And
about 3 months in, I was just this ambitious guy. Like I've always just been driven off of like what's next, like what's the next thing? What can I do? Like what's 10 steps ahead of me so I can have a goal and go get there, And I remember 3 months into that job, I was asking, there was a fitness management position that popped up at another branch, and I applied for it, and I put my application in, and one of my coworkers like, dude, you're great, but like there's people that have been here 5, 6 years, 7 years. No matter how good you are, they're gonna, and I respect that corporate side where it's like, hey, loyalty, to the company. But at the same time, I was like, dude, I'm not gonna let my fucking, and sorry about my language. I want to be as vulnerable and upfront as possible, but like, I'm not gonna let my fucking life be determined by someone else. And I need to make a change now. Cause like, I'm ready to go and I can't be held back just by time. Time cannot hold me back, So, my buddy was doing multi-level marketing at the time. He was in Herbalife. And so I went to it's called a HOM. It's an Herbalife opportunity meeting. And they have like speakers go up there and share their story about their weight loss journey or their weight gain journey, and their story about the business side, the business opportunity. Guy went up there, said he made 18 grand last month. That's all I needed to hear. Boom. And I started that, just from my presence in college and my being very social. I built a incredible downline, like really, really fast. I was like the fastest in Southern California to get to this, a certain level called the TAB team, Top Achievers Business. And then, a year in, they had me flying around the US or going places in the US to go speak about, share my journey. And I built that up pretty good. And then, after about 2.5 years, I got a call from a friend long story short, he was in the fitness industry as well. And he's like, Nico, I got an opportunity to go and help open up a gym franchise in Dubai.
Okay.
He's like, I need you to come. When? And at the time, my girlfriend at the time, she was like, we got to go. And he's like, here, you could talk to the person now. I talked to him. And he's like, can you come now? And I was like, listen, this is the first time I'm meeting my girlfriend's side of the family. I was on the East Coast. I was in Nevis. They took us to like a vacation, an island vacation. And so I was like, can I come in 5 days? Like I'll be back in the States in 5 days. I went back to California, called my family, said, hey, I'm going to Dubai. I don't know how long I'm going for. I called my landlord. She's like, yeah, she was so cool. I still had 7 or 8 months left on my, rental. And she's like, no, we'll cancel that. This is opportunity of a lifetime. You should go. I was pumped. So 5 days later, I'm in Dubai. Next thing you know, the gym franchise is slow, it's not picking up at the speed we want it to pick up. So I've been working out this whole time, getting paid, just to hang out there, living just in Dubai and having a car and all this stuff. And the next thing you know, I get a DM from a sheik, a prince. And he heard I was there just from posting and stuff. And he heard about me through other clients, or whatnot. And he reached out and said, hey, was wondering if you'd like to, if we can meet up and do some training. I'm like, sure. I was like, I'd love that. And I didn't know who he was. It didn't say Prince this or Sheik this. It just was like this, a kid. He's 19 years old. So he's like, can you meet me at my dad's hotel tomorrow? I was like, yeah. And his dad owned the Kempinski Hotel in Dubai and at the Emirates Mall. And so I go in this hotel and he's sitting at a table. He's like, Nico, come. So I go over there and I'm like, I look around and there's people dressed in Pandoras, and there's maybe like 10, 15 people at different tables, and they're all staring at me. And I'm like, what the heck? True story. And I go and sit down with him, meet him and everything. And he goes, I'm sorry. This is just protocol. These are bodyguards of my family's and that are around here. We had everyone leave the hotel so they can come on the first floor. I'm like, holy shit. Dude, I have a picture. I'll show you. It's so funny because like, it was the first day I met him. Like, you're not like, there's a lot of like respect things that you don't do. First thing I did was shake, hug, one arm hug right behind his back. I'm like, what's up, dude? Yeah, dude, I'm pumped. Let's, just being me. And like people are like, what? And I think, you know, over time, like even his friends, that he loved it. He loved having a normal friend, you know? And so it was pretty wild, but I was living there um, at the JBR Jumeirah Beach Residence Hotel
Yeah.
with just making great money. And really, we just became really good friends. And I was training him 3 times a week. I'd get on a helicopter or his driver would pick me up, take me to Abu Dhabi to the palace, train him, come back. And then it started becoming like, oh, we go there and, oh, you want to skip today? Let's go to a concert. You want to do something else? Oh, let's go to the mall. Oh, let's hang out, you know? And so he became like, he was just like paying me to be his friend at that point, you know? And so about a year and a half in, I was like, dude, I feel like I'm dying inside. I've done everything here, like went to every water park, every brunch, met a ton of friends, had a great time. But, you know, it's like after a while, you're like, dude, if you're not fulfilling your purpose, you feel like you're dying, you know? And that's how I felt. And like, I knew telling my family and friends, like, dude, I'm coming back, they're going to be like, what the, you're crazy, you know? But really, I was like, dude, I believe in myself enough to know that I'll get back here and tenfold. But more importantly, I need to go do something that's going to be super impactful and help the world. And so I went back and I started my own online fitness and nutrition programming, got opportunity to go down to South America and go to do a seminar. It's like a seven gym seminar, and go to these different locations and speak to a third world country, you know, and share and dude, and you find how freaking like focused they are, like how much they literally don't take for granted, like how much we take for granted the information that we have and the people and the opportunity. And you go there and they're just like, they're so focused and dialed in to listening to what you have to say, writing everything down. Oh yeah. Like it was one of the coolest experiences ever. Then the Dubai story, I can go days into that, but it's just, it was an incredible opportunity. It really was. And I'll never forget it. But then came back, did that, decided I want to get into acting, moved back to California. Me and my girlfriend at the time, we broke up. I came back to California, played in a flag football tournament, tore my Achilles. I'm in a boot and have no income, living at my parents' house. And for 2 months or 3 months, and then I decided I'm going to go to my sister's house because I don't want to tell people I'm at my parents' house. You know, so I'm now in this really depressed state of, I'm not in the fitness industry anymore. I came back to be an actor. Me and my girlfriend of 3.5 years just broke up. I was on top of the world, and now I'm at the very bottom. And I'm in a boot, staying at my sister's house. And I'm at this point where I'm like sleeping until noon, like don't know, have no motivation, no drive. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on with my life, right? Like about 6 months in, I was like, dude, if I don't make a change, this is never going to get better. And my parents are starting to notice. They're like all my family and friends are like, dude, you're the visionary. You're the guy that's supposed to change the family tree. Wow. Like, what's going on, Nico? This isn't you, you know? So I was like, fuck it. I have nothing to lose. I'm going back to LA. We'll figure it out from there. 2 weeks after I get my boot off, I'm starting to rehab, and I'm on the Stairmaster at a local gym back home in Northern California. And I'm watching a podcast of Grant Cardone. It says interview with the $40 million man. And it just happened to be our old CEO, Edwin, who I respect tremendously. He was a Skyline. Skyline.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't know what he did. I just listened to the podcast of like where he came from, how he grew up, and where he is now. And all I did was DM him from watching that podcast on Grant Cardone. I was like, bro, dude, you lit a fire in my ass. Thank you so much for sharing and sharing with me and being an impact to the world. He literally DM'd me back the next day, and he's like, Nico, here's my number. Give me a call. Let's talk. And I'm like, shit. I was trying to just, just be friendly. And I was moving to LA in 2 weeks, right? And so we got on the phone. He told me about what he did. He asked me what I want to do. He's like, what do you like? What do you want to do with your life? I told him about what had been happening and how I'm trying to make a change, and how his podcast, or that podcast with Grant Cardone, really helped me. And I was like, I want to be an actor, and I want to get into public speaking. I want to share on, just telling people what's ironic, because I was doing the opposite at the time, about like, just take advantage of your life, go after what you really want, because you're never going to be fully satisfied. You're never going to be fully feel whole unless you do that. No amount of money, because I was making it, no amount of outside people telling you how great you are, because that was happening, is going to fulfill you, like you going after your dreams and your goals. And so he's like, look, I love that. You need to have more under your belt than fitness, nutrition, and mindset. You need to put more in your arsenal, like like building culture, sales, finance, like the Tony Robbins of the world. Like you'll be able to reach more people this way. That's too much of a niche market, and the Instagram is covered with freaking fitness gurus. You know what I mean? They get in shape for a month, the next thing you know, they're coming out with a program. Right. I'm not saying everyone's like this. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's happened more than it doesn't from my perspective, from what I see. So he's like, when are you coming out here? I said 2 weeks. I move out there. I got a spot already. And he's like, come over to my place and we'll talk. So go over there, we talk. And then he asked me to go to his office, and I go to his office. He's like, look, just try this out. You're going to knock doors, but you're going to go with one of the best managers and mentors in the game. His name is Pat Mendes. He's like, but I need you to go to Philadelphia. And I'm like, fuck, I just signed a lease here in LA. I have no income coming in. And you want me to now you want me to go to Philadelphia? And he's like, just try it. Like, just trust me, try it. So I was like, okay. I just said, hey, look, I have nothing to lose. This is a great person, a great connect. Like, I just need to talk to this Pat Mendes guy, and we'll figure it out. And so he got me in touch with Pat on a group chat. We talked on the phone, and we started following each other on Instagram, and we just hit it off. And he's like, typically you don't have some random ass dude stay at your house. Like, you know how the summers work? Like, you have summer guys, usually you got a house, bro. Like, you're getting in a house, like, you're not, no way. He just felt the energy and the connection, and like, he was just like, hey, you're going to stay with me, And so I told Edwin, yeah, I'll go. So I was paying rent in LA, going out to Philly. He's like, go for 3 weeks. If you hate it, we'll send you back. I was like, okay. So I go out there. Pat's very serious. The best thing about me and Pat is we balance each other out, but more so we make each other so much better. Wow. In all aspects, not just sales, not just, leadership, but in all aspects, wow. Personality, personal. And so that's why we work so well. But basically, I went out to Philly, he picked me up, and it's like, he has this beautiful home. It's kind of in the hood, but it's a beautiful home. It's in the, downtown, or in Fishtown in near Philadelphia. Yeah. And so we go there. I don't know pitch, nothing. The next day he's like, look, I use this big iPad Pro. Most people don't. And I'm like, whatever, like, can you take me to the AT&T store? I'll go buy the iPad Pro. I'm gonna do whatever you do. Obviously you're successful, and successful people leave clues. Success leaves clues. But more importantly, I'm just like, dude, I've always known, just do what successful people do. Right. And that's the first step, is like, holy shit, there's so many people that just don't do the simple things that successful people do, And so the first day we're out in his car and he points to a house. Literally, he goes, right there. That's my deal. That one. We get out of the car. I swear to you, we get out, we knock the door, and he sells the customer. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking kill it at this. This is amazing, dude. This is sick. Like, no way did that just happen. Because I'd have no perspective, you know? I didn't see anything. I didn't look up anything. I just knew that Pat knocked doors. He was a killer. Like, let's go do that. So we get out of the car, he gets into the next house we knock. These kids are jumping all over me. It's hilarious why he's closing another deal. And so I'm like, dude, I did what most of the industry doesn't do now. I'm like, dude, I don't have I don't know a pitch, but can I try? And so the first person that I knock the door, no one answers, couple doors. The first person that opens, they're like, how much is it? And I was like, I look back at Pat, and Pat's like, that's exactly why I'm here, sir. And we go inside and we sell. I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, I just saw like 3 customers go down in my first day. You know, I don't know what we're doing, but I'm excited.
Wow.
And so I was like, bro, I'm ready to go by myself. He's like, are you sure? Like, he's like, dude, I was like, yeah, I'll figure it out. Like, we'll figure it out. Just send me the steps, how to sign someone up. I'll figure it out. So the next day he drops me off. I'm super pumped. I knock 144 doors. Not a single person lets me inside. And I'm pissed, bro. Like, I'm like, what the hell just happened? I go home, I reflect, we talk about it. And then and I'm just like, what? Like, you know, I go out the next day and I get dropped off. It's pouring rain. And Philadelphia's I was in Bridgeton, New Jersey, the nastiest place I've ever been.
Ugh.
It's humid.
Yeah.
It's humid and hot. And the next thing you know, it's pouring rain, humid and hot.
No.
I swear to you, I'm sitting under the tree. It's my second day by myself, soaked in, like, brand new iPad, brand new iPad under my shirt, drenched. And I'm like, dude, this is so embarrassing. Like, you're talking about a guy coming from living on top of the world, training a prince in Dubai, making tons of money. And now I'm being dropped off in the middle of Bridgeton, New Jersey, in the rain. Like, you talk about humbling. It was the most humbling experience of my life. I was like, I'm never going to tell anyone I'm doing this ever. Like, and I'm 30 and I'm 29 years old at the time. I'm like, this is embarrassing. So I decided, I thought in that moment, and this is a true story, I'm under a tree in a neighborhood and it's pouring rain. Rain on the East Coast is a lot different than rain on the West Coast, dude. It is nasty. It's gross, you know? And so I'm like, I either just like throw in the towel, or I'm like, dude, stop being a pussy, get out there and just make something happen. Next door I knock, they wouldn't let me inside, but they opened the garage, sold them from the garage. And then a couple of houses later, sold the next customer to that day. And the rest is history. And I was so lit up inside. It was a feeling of like true accomplishment. Like, it wasn't talent that got me there. It was just grit. It was literally like everything else in my life. Like, people, you know, say I've been gifted with this and that, and you have a natural ability to talk to people and blah, blah, blah. And like people naturally gravitate towards you. And I love that, you know, I love that. And I'm super grateful for that. But this wasn't that. This was like, dude, it's pouring. You knocked a shit ton of doors yesterday, and now it's rain, and you didn't talk to anyone. Now it's raining, and you think you're going to get a sale. And I just went into action and did it, you know? And then the rest from there on out, it was like the following week, that Monday, I sold a couple, and I sold 8 my first week. And then, you know, I was pretty consistent on the, you know, 6 to 8 every single week, you know, from there on out. And we called it, you know, this. And then it ended up being, you know, 3 weeks that I was supposed to stay, ended up being over 3.5 months, because I wasn't done learning from Pat. And we just became really, really tight, like really, really tight. Like we would wake up in the morning, walk a mile to the gym, talk about sales, come a mile back, talk about sales, get ready, eat breakfast, shower, go down to his basement and have meeting from his basement because we had other people coming in. Go an hour to Bridgeton, New Jersey, drop me off, talk about sales, and then pick me up around 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, talk about sales. I was dreaming and I was sleeping and like I was talking in my sleep about my pitch, And so like you're coming from a guy who has seen a lot of the world, lived on the East Coast, went to South America, Dubai, had like seen a lot. And then I'm out here now and I'm like, okay, we're slinging alarms out of the trunk of Pat's car. The products, like the systems are in his Jeep. We're having meetings in his basement. You talk about having to have vision. Like it was very special because if you can see it then, like most people would not see where we are right now coming from that moment. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty surreal. Pretty surreal that we were like, man, leadership and people that, are at a level of just belief, like they naturally gravitate towards each other. You know what I mean? And so I was like, dude, okay, right now this sucks. I'm getting dropped off. 29 years old. All this stuff. We're selling, one of our techs we picked up from a Little Caesars.
Yeah.
My first customer, he put a hole in his wall and just left the wire hanging for the doorbell camera. I'm like, what is going on? Like you talk about you had to have vision there. If you didn't have the vision, if you didn't see what was going to happen from there, there's no way you could have stopped. You know what I mean? And so from there, the rest is history, and I could go on, but I don't want to wait if you have any questions.
Yeah. No, I appreciate, I do have some questions. So, and there's a ton of stuff I want to, I'm like a little kid in South America right now. Right. So we can laugh about that.
Oh, dude.
But, yeah. So we can, a ton of nuggets and a ton of powerful stuff and everything you just said, which I appreciate it. I want to touch first kind of like, my dad went to Cal State Northridge. He played baseball. He went to Chatsworth High. So like, yeah, but I mean, obviously like, my dad's a little bit older than we are. Right. But, so I know the area well, and I love every time somebody refers to that, but what kind of like with the Herbalife thing. So how old were you when you started the Herbalife venture?
I just got out of college after my first 6 months at that other job. I was 22.
So you did 6 months with the AFM at 24 Hour Fitness, and then your buddy comes and talks to you and says, let's do this Herbalife thing. And so, what do you think was I got a friend who does Herbalife. She actually does it in Houston. She moved there to open up a store, and she tried to get me to do it one time. I bought all this stuff, and I love the protein powders and stuff.
Yeah.
But I tend to eat my food now. But I like the Herbalife. I like everything about it. So what kind of thing? What do you? I mean, you told me that like you saw a guy with an $18,000 check. You were running for the tab team. I think it's like Presidential's List or something is after that or whatever. And so like, kind of, what do you think was what was your biggest assets in being so successful in the beginning with Herbalife?
I was just excited. And I saw that someone else did it, so I can do it too. That was really it. Like I never, I've never lacked in belief. Like I don't know where that stems from. I think it really stems from my family. Like my Nana's always told me, you could do anything. If I tell my mom today that, hey, I want to be an astronaut, she'd be like, okay, well, you could do it. They've always given me positive affirmation on what I can do. And like, I've never, like the people I surround myself with, like I surround myself with some really, really dope individuals. Like I have my same best friend since kindergarten. like my 6 best friends since kindergarten, you know, and like I've always put myself around just, I think that's a huge key too, is like your circle of influence is going to help you grow, give you everything you need, you know? And so I think I was just purely excited. Like, this guy could do it, I could do it. Pat could sell his first door with me in the car. I could sell. All I need to do is see that he can do it. I could do it, you know? And so I think just purely excitement.
Yeah, and I love that. And especially Pat, like there's these, I mean, I've had the pleasure, as you referred to, of just coming into contact with, I think, some of the best guys to have ever done it. And you know, and Lee's, it was funny one time, Lee and I, Lee taught me how to knock, and Lee didn't, in the beginning, Lee was like, just go knock. I mean, it wasn't like I didn't get training, but I had come in as a closer because I had ran a roofing company, but our marketing for my roofing company was way different than what we were doing, because we were in a secluded area in South Carolina, and you couldn't knock. You had to do mailers and then word of mouth, and then it like blew and blew and blew, because I was just nobody taught me how to pitch roofs. Like I learned, I did, there's many steps to storm restoration roofing, and I taught myself how to do all of it on YouTube. I'm like you, I have that grit, and but nobody was out there teaching me how to, sell in the home. I just would be like, hey, I'm Zach, I'm with Harper Roofing. We've been this is what we're doing. Let me just get, and I would just hypnotize them with my presence.
Sure.
And so when Lee started, he was like, yeah, just go knock. And then, I've told the story plenty of times, but, one day I was like, look, man, I need you to go out with me. Like, I need to just see you do it. Like, I'm sick of this shit of like sitting in class. And I'm like, I'm not a class guy. Like, I do good on tests, but yeah. So we go out to knock this hood. It's on cause we do new homeowner route. And we go out on this route, and I'm like, yo, he's like, where's your route? And he goes, holy shit. He goes, wait. So he takes the car, flips the car back around, goes around the corner. He's like, bro, this is the first neighborhood I ever knocked with Pat Mendes. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, bro. And we just went down the street of like, oh yeah, that house, this. And like, he's just going on the street, and he was explaining what Pat did the same exact way that you explained it, where it was like, Pat was just looking for good looks and a lot looking for blue dots. But I mean, all the stuff I do now that's completely catapulted my success, even within the last month, I'll be fair.
Sure.
So let's touch on something. So the Dubai experience. So how old? So you're how old when you go? I know when you're
20. I was. Oh, you know what? I was 25 when I went to Dubai.
25. So Herbalife was about 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead.
About 3 years, yeah. And then I got that opportunity, and I just couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, it's crazy. I went to Dubai too, like 4 years, 2018, 3 years ago, end of January, 3 years ago. I had been working in the production industry forever. I had been working for a manufacturer. It was my life goal to be this guy, and I achieved it. I achieved it. Other than owning my own production company, which I would later do, I achieved it. And my buddy, I was just like you, man. I just had gotten to the point where I was just, they wanted to stick me at a desk. I went from like touring around, flying all the time to be with bands, to they're like, we're going to put you at a desk. I'm like, yeah, right. And we go to Dubai. I went there for 10 days, and I had the most, I've been in the Middle East twice, and I've had it was the most surreal experience I've ever had in my entire life. Like, I've been to Bahrain, I met a guy who, he's one of my favorite humans on the planet. We're still connected today, who owns Bahrain Oil. And I had never seen money like that before. And I kind of like your experience. I was like, I'm like talking to him, drinking tea, like, yo, like what, like, hey, what do you do? He's like, oh, we own Petro. I'm like, what do you mean you own Petro? And my head, I just blew my mind. Anyways, I go to Dubai, and I had a very surreal experience in Dubai, like that changed the course of my entire life. So I believe you go where God sits, and I will always visit Dubai in my life, because I believe that's one of the, it was one of the biggest crossroads of my life. So when you were first there, I mean, you're a kid from LA, like, it's not like you didn't have any experiences, but when you get to Dubai, like, you're a very energetic guy. So what kind of like, it seems as if you lost your purpose there, right? And so you had drive, you had motivation, and then you lost your purpose and you almost lost yourself in Dubai. So kind of what was leading up to that? Like, what was your kind of experience there?
It's as amazing as Dubai is. It's a business capital of the world. It's very superficial. You know, it's hard. You don't see, like, I mean, dude, cops drive Lambos. You know what I mean? Like it's a very superficial place, and you can get lost in that if that's, you know, you can get lost in like, oh, I just want the luxury high life, you know, because to be honest, only 2 of the 7 Emirates or the 7 states in the UAE are like that. It's a bubble. It's Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi being the oil trade center, and Dubai being the business trade center. And it's like outside of that, Oman, Sharjah, all these other places outside, it's like it's not like that. And so when you're in that bubble, you see how lackadaisical and how like laid back everyone is with money and this and that. And I was like, oh my, like for me, the energy was just like, I wasn't feeling the energy anymore. I'm like, dude, I can't, I gotta go hustle. I gotta go talk to people that want to get here. You know, like I want to get people here, not, you know, just have the people that are already here, you know, so it was like, I think it was just taking a toll after a while, you know, like there's only so much you could do. You know, so that was a big thing, I think. And then my family being 17 hours away, it's not like I could just go and jump on a plane, get there, then come back, you know, like it's exactly 12 hours difference. So from LA. So, you know, you got to adjust, you know, getting there. It took me like 5 days to just adjust. And then on top of that, you know, then you start experiencing it. But yeah, I think it was just causing me to settle a little bit. That's what caused me to get out of there.
So the gym franchise never really even took off at all. So it just
never took off.
Yeah. So eventually you're like training the sheik or whatever, and then he's basically paying you to be your friend. So you've got nothing to like motivate you to do, and which I get it. I mean, like it's some people would call it a dream, but and yeah, I mean, I get it out there. So when you came back, you know, you kind of hit the ground running with the online fitness thing. So, you know, how did that taper off into you? Is it because you tore your Achilles, or kind of like what caused you to kind of regress a little bit?
Yeah, just like that's a great question. So I was doing online programming, okay, and I ran a program, like it was like a shred program, we call it, a weight loss program, with my friend Nick in Miami. We filmed for a month, did all this stuff. We got a shit ton of people to sign up for this program at $100. It was great money. Everything was good. But deep down inside, I'm like, my name's on this. And I know that this is a cookie cutter program, because not everyone everybody's different. Everyone functions differently. Their mechanics, their blood type, you know, how their body reacts to carbs, fats, proteins, like everyone's different. Everyone needs, you know, a different program. And so I was literally, it was giving me anxiety, because I needed to make sure if my name's on this, everyone has access to me. So you're talking about 700 people from all over the country, or not just the country, around the world, reaching me at different times on my email, my phone, and this and that. And I have anxiety. I had anxiety to the point it was like, dude, I have to respond. I have to get back. I have to make them feel like they're like, and you're talking about $100 program. That ain't nothing, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But like my name was on it. And so I'm like, dude, I need to get out of this. Like I'm starting to lose my passion for fitness for myself, because of like all the anxiety and just stress that I'm getting outside of it. So I was like, I got to make a change. Like there's no question about it. So that's why I really got out. And it just so happened to be at the time I wanted to go back to LA, living on the East Coast. And then, you know, the week I get back, it's actually Thanksgiving. It was a turkey bowl. I take a step back and just like tore my Achilles. So it's crazy.
So had you ever been like, had you ever been injured before? Was that like your first real injury?
No, dude, I played sports my whole life. Like I was the captain of my football team forever. Like I was really, really good at football.
Yeah.
Like extremely good at football. And I've never been injured, ever. And then but you thinking you're still young and you don't stretch and you go back out there a couple years later and you think you're Superman and just your body doesn't work that way.
Well, it's crazy because when I'm taking this in, like it's, I'm a knock on wood. I've never been injured either. I'm not much of an athlete, but I do go to the gym. So, I push the limit as well. But, it's interesting to hear you talk about how, it seems like you were so not that you became unsuccessful, but you were so successful for so long. And then this dream of Dubai, and then you kind of like, what it sounds like is you start to lose yourself a little bit, and that stress then compounds until your body basically just said, I'm going to put you in timeout. That's what I hear, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And it's like, we're going to put you in timeout. And then, so how old were you when you tore your Achilles?
27 or 28.
28. No doubt.
Yeah.
And then like true Nico fashion is what it sounds like, is this manifestation of self, right? And so you see this, your family's looking, and I can relate to this, right? Your family's looking at you, you're the visionary, you need to change, we need you to change the generation. Not that, no disrespect to anybody else in your family, but you need to change the generation. And you find, you see the Scott, you hear this, Edwin's his name from Skyline. So you hear Edwin on this podcast with
Grant Cardone.
Yeah, with Grant Cardone, and you just hit him up, and kind of what, were you just kind of willing at that point to do, anything? I'm going to do whatever,
I was going to go to LA and just like do hit up old clients and do fitness on the side while I get into acting. That was it. With the Edwin thing, it was more so, hey, I was just literally reaching out. Thank you for thank you for being who you are for the world and being an impact to the world. That's all that was. I wasn't looking for anything, but being willing and open, doors start to, opportunity starts to knock when you're willing and open. Like it's like you if you're shut off and closed off, you don't know what's gonna, you don't know what you're missing out on. It's kind of like that what is it? It was like, I think it's like a Bible story. I think it's like, some guy gets thrown, or he's about to drown. He's in the water and a boat comes by and he's praying to God to pick him up and save him. A boat comes by and he's like, I'm okay. God's going to save me. And the guy's like, okay. Another boat comes by. I'm okay. God's going to save me. And he's not open. He's like, oh, maybe God sent that guy on that boat to come save you.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like he's just not open. Like he's not. And so I guess it was just me being open, at the time.
So at this time, you got like 32,000 followers on Instagram, right? And they're not paid for like a lot of people in our industry. So that's like earned like, I'm not gonna be much of a hater, but I love going to some door-to-door sales guy who's got 30,000 followers and he gets like 50 likes on his post. I'm like, bro, let's just not call a spade here, anyways.
Yeah.
So did you have the same following then at 28?
It was way bigger. I was at like bigger. 50 something. I just stopped posting. Like I literally, like, if you look at my posts, like I post one time last year.
Yeah.
I stopped and then I just got back into the story thing, when I got back into it, when I felt comfortable, I saw, cause I didn't feel like I could provide value. And I stopped looking at everyone else's shit and how amazing their life was on, on paper.
Wow.
Or on visual. And I was like, shit, like, I don't care. And some people are like, oh, dude, it's a bad business move because there's a lot of business opportunity. Dude, if it's the genuine, like, it's hard to fake being genuine. Like, it all comes back. Like, it's not, it's more so for me, like, hey, how do I want to use my platform? I haven't figured that out because I'm so damn busy right now that it's like, dude, let me, like, that's second. Most importantly is my face-to-face, my human-to-human interaction in person with my team. and then we'll do that. Obviously it's helped get a lot of these people here, but like, I don't like, it's just to get the information out, but I'm way better at person to person interaction,
Yeah, I mean, we can literally say that you've posted twice in the last 4 years. So
exactly.
I mean, which
exactly.
and I get it, I've been there. Like it's this industry can make you feel a certain type of way. So I respect that. So you had more of a following then, and listen, I had a recent experience too, where like, and I like to put everything out into the universe. It's just how I get down. But you brought up Casey, who literally changed everything about myself, and same with Bodie and these guys. But Casey originally with his Sunday planning and then goal setting and things that people have done before. But if you look at like when I started knocking doors and I made these little cards, kind of like the Earl Nightingale from lead to field. I made these little cards. I put them in plastic, and I put them in my car, and I've hit I made 6. I've hit 4 out of the 6 already within 6 months of making the card. So the mindset of goal setting is just so much bigger than myself. And
Yeah.
I wanted to get Bradley on the podcast, and I'm on, this is episode like 10, I think. I mean, listen, I'm going to reach as far as I can, as quickly as I
It's going
can.
to be huge.
So I overthrew my coverage and just hit him up on Instagram. And I said, Brad, you need to be on my podcast. And he literally replied back and said, I don't have any time. And I got this from Gary Vee, bro. Like I've been following Gary Vee since before he was famous, for a long time. And he always says, just blow people up. And so Brad didn't, I'll take a step back. Brad didn't reply right away. So I just commented my message on every single one of his Instagram posts. I mean, I sent it. I mean, it was like, you could see it for days. Right. And he finally replied, he said, I don't have time. And I just closed him. I said, well, I can do Zoom. So, I mean, everyone's got time for a Zoom call, give me 30, 45 minutes. I don't give a shit how long it is. I just want you on my, and he said, hit me up again. So hit me up at this day. So I hit him up again, and he's like, listen, like, you got to hit this girl up. So I emailed his, obviously I get past the buck, which I respect.
Yeah.
And she kindly replied back with no. And so Lee replies to her, and basically, because I was in, I didn't have time to respond to the email, and he's like, well, give us a goal, right? And she's like, well, get more reviews and more people on, and then it's a no-brainer. And I said, cool, no problem. But it's funny because if you can, I'll measure Brad against Casey and Bodie and Kenny all day long, right? Sure. Because these are guys 20 years in the industry that have now semi-retired, that have 40,000 people went through their organization, and they didn't balk. They didn't go like, oh, they said, yeah, we will do anything for you guys, right? And that's like what the difference is, I think. And even with what you're talking about with Edwin, like when you've knocked doors and you've become that successful, it's just crazy what people in the industry are willing to do for you, man.
Exactly.
So you hit up Edwin, and then your whole entire, I don't even know if you thought you knew what you were getting into, right?
I didn't. I had no idea.
Clue. And so
I had no idea I was going to be dropped off, to be honest with you.
Pat. And so you get sent out with Pat, and then let's talk about Pat. So Pat, it said you were the guy. How long into your 3-month venture did you guys know you were going to get to this relationship with each other?
Well, we did it. I thought I was going to do this and then go back and do acting. And basically after the 3.5 months, Edwin's like, hey, come back. You can run a office out here in California. And then Pat went with his wife at the time, went to Austin. So everyone left after the summer. It was just a couple people, but everyone left. And then Pat went back and he sold, and he had a guy with him. And that year, my only goal was, hey, just get rookie of the year, which I did. And Pat got top rep of the year, which he did. So in December, we're at the Skyline, we're at the award ceremony. I get rookie of the year, he gets top rep. We're talking, and he's like, dude, you need to come to Austin and just check it out. I think we could build something massive together. And I'm like, dude, I was here for 2 months in LA, and I'm like, I wasn't, it's far from the office. So the support wasn't there. And like, I was just like, I didn't have any drive to go get reps, a lot of reps or start recruiting it, because I want to make sure we have a platform, And so I was like, fuck it, let's go. So I go out there January 7th. I'm there for a month. I sign a lease the next month, and the rest is history. Like literally, like it was me, him, and then we got Wagner to come back, and then one other guy, Ali, and it was just us. And then I wanted to dial it in. Pat's like, when you're ready to recruit, let's go. Like, he's like, dude, with your influence and my knowledge in the industry and my foresight, like, and our vision, dude, we're going to create something massive. He didn't say we could, he just said, we're going to create. And I was like, dude, I know. Okay, well, let me get this down. And keep in mind, before, like, I wasn't like a crazy, I could have been, but, and this is where culture really comes into play, but I wasn't really like, my best week as a rookie was 9, that's good, but it's not like, it wasn't like a boom, So what had happened is January, March, April, mid-April, he's like, let's do a post. So I did a post. I said, look, this door knocking, my first 4 months, I made over $100,000. Listen, like, we're going to teach you more than that. It's more about the skill set you'll acquire, because our system and the skill set you're going to acquire is going to help you in every aspect of your life forever. And so I got hit up by it was like 100 and maybe like 175 people. And I don't know why Pat said 20. I was like, what? But I think he meant like we went through 20 actual people that we'd actually qualify, but then we took 5 of them. And out of those 5, Andy's Ordonez is one of them. He runs our biggest office in Houston with my other buddy, Jordan. And then we had the top rookie of the year out of those 5. And then from there, the culture was so like, they were so good, we're growing, that it forced us both to step up, really, right? And so that's when I was like, I had the idea. I was like, Pat, send me off on a little like getaway thing. I didn't even know what a blitz was. Just give me a tech, give me away. And then that's when it really started. I was like, boom, popped off 20. And then it gave other people on our team belief. Like, dude, I was just, and in the whole company, I was like, dude, I was a guy that was just used to like 5, 7 a week, 6 to 8 a week, and 9 my best week, and now 20 anytime I want. And so the following year, sold 20 like 7 times. It broke the Skyline record with 36 installs in a week. Like, I started to believe, and people started to notice. Yes, people started to notice, and I started attracting studs. Like, and the best part about it is I literally forced Pat to grow at a level that made us unstoppable. Because can you imagine if I kept bringing in these studs, like straight up killers? Like, we had 9 people that hit 20 in a week, within a 4-month period. Like these people are like, our average rookie was selling 7. Like, our PRA was 6.5. Like, we had a system. He had a system down, and he kept making it better and better and better because he had to, right? And I had gotten better and better and better, and started recruiting better and better and better talent. And here's the craziest part. Out of all the major recruits that we have, I've never reached out to a single one of them except one. Every single one of them has reached out to me. Is that crazy? It's because it's because you really can't fake. Like I was saying, you can't fake like passion, excitement, genuinity. It's so hard to fake from me, so they're seeing it. They're like, shit, what are these guys doing? What's this guy doing? How's he doing that? What is he do? And to everyone out there, like, if you're in the industry or not, like, just know that I'll tell you guys right now, like, 3 years ago, I was fucking broke, in a boot, just broke up with my girlfriend, overweight, living with my mom and dad and my sister, no income. And then 2.5 years, I made over $1 million knocking doors. I drive, and I'm not bragging. I want you guys to know that this is fucking real. I drive my dream car, the R8 that I saw first Ironman. I saw Ironman. I was like, I love that car more than Lambo, more than
Yeah, I
I
love
gotta
that.
drive that car. Have a freaking. I just bought a 2-bedroom condo, floor to ceiling windows. First person to move into it, overlooking downtown. Like my life, your whole life can change, just like that. If you just never give up, you be open to opportunity, and you just like you find what you're really, really passionate about. Like, I hope you could feel that, Zach, because like I'm serious. Like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I have no fucking background in door-to-door sales, in no direct sale, like nothing. Like, it's crazy, like it's insane. And so, and now, that first year we're together, we did, like 1,000 accounts. The next year I started recruiting. We did over 2,000 accounts. Last year, we did nearly 4,000 accounts. And, all that stuff, it was like Pat it just instilled in me, like, be the best, fastest rookie to regional, most installs in a week, most 20 plus spots in a year, number one rookie on like having the number one rookies, having the number one office, the number one region. Like, we're like he's made me like level up, he's caused me to level up. And so it's like a I know I'm going all over the place, but it's kind of like a crazy dynamic. And now we have like some of the sickest people on our team that I call family, right? Like, so I guess in a sense, like, I would say I don't believe in the non-partnership. I think a partnership is always a good idea because you guys offer two different things. Pat was always super consistent, the hardest worker in the room, and always was willing to adjust to get better. I was the visionary. I shared big vision. I made sure people knew like how good they could be and raise their level of belief, and like my influence attracted people into the business. And he had a system. I knew, like, okay, Pat has this side of it. I'll funnel this system. Let's make it happen. And so my vision allowed, like, like some of the people on our team, for instance, there's a guy, Jordan Abassi, right? He was 20 years old. He's been in the industry 2 years. I hit him up. He's the only person I ever called. I said, bro, why'd you leave the industry? Where'd you go? He's like, oh, I just fell off. I'm like, dude, come out here with us. He was out here with us for 4 months or 3 months, was not doing hot at all. Pat's like, fire him. I was like, I'm not firing him. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. And it was the first time I was like, yeah, I was right. Pat was wrong, because he's always right. And so I was like, and then boom, next thing you know, it clicks for him. It clicks at 21 years or 20 years old. He was a top rep in our team, our organization, for the top, for the top office, for the top dealer in Brinks at the time. That's huge. Now he's running our top team with with Andy Ordonez in Houston, and like, there's a lot of people like on our team that I'm just like, dude, like, they're going to be something great if they stick it out. And so I always had like vision to make something happen, and Pat always put it together with a plan of action. So I'm like the guy, I'm like, Pat, what if we do this, this, and this, and have this? And Pat goes, okay, give me a day, let me figure it out, put a plan of action together, and then let's do it. And that's how it's always worked.
Oh, I love it. And I relate too, because Lee and I operate very similarly. So yeah, dude, I'm picking up what you're throwing down. Super powerful and a lot of nuggets, dude. I got a lot of.
I know. I kind of go all over because I
love it. No, I love it. I love it. And I know everyone that listens to is going to be better off for it. So first year, how many accounts did you sell rookie of the year at Skyline?
Just, I think 125.
125. And then year two, how many did you sell?
Well, year two was when we started recruiting. I sold like 255, 260, and I recruited 700 accounts total out of our total accounts of a little over 2,000.
Yeah.
And then year 3, last year I sold like, oh man, like 280, 285, but I sold like maybe 60 with other people,
Yeah,
because
of
they were
course,
just getting,
managed.
how you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a big thing for me, but then we hit over 4,000 accounts, and so
And I know
it's
Pat
been
has
great.
like this vision of creating the greatest organization that's ever done it, especially in alarms. And so,
Sure.
kind of what was your main, I really want to touch on the recruiting aspect of it, because Zig Ziglar talks it, but every single guy that I've had on the podcast talks about, your life is measured by the people that you serve. And
Sure.
I really firmly believe that if I'm not serving people in my organization, outside of my organization, I won't be successful in any manner, not financial or spiritual or the like. So what do you think, like, do you think it was Instagram? I mean, do you think that you posting stories on IG was like the thing that really drove people to want to work with you guys?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, for sure. 100%. I think everyone came from like a platform like that, or they are all from a circle of influence, or people that knew someone that knew me or something like that. And they're like, dude, they like, I'll tell you, me and Pat get a ton of credit for what we do. But listen, if it wasn't for Andy and Jordan taking off and doing their thing, if it wasn't for Rebecca coming out and just giving 100%, or Wagner like really stepping up this year, or Lee, like I could name a million people. I really can. I could name so much of our leadership. They make us look good, right? Like they're the ones on, like they're plugging into the system, and they're just saying, okay, let's do it. Like I want to make sure everyone knows that I get the credits for them. I just help provide the opportunity and the vision, and hopefully, like you could follow me or Pat and say, look, if you do these things as leaders, like you'll get this result. Like I always want to make sure that the credit is never like on us. Like we casted the vision, we set the platform, but like it's up to you to plug in and do it the way we ask you to do it. If you do not do that, don't blame me. I've had so many people come that have quit their jobs, moved out to Texas. Like half of our team has moved to Texas, and very few people that ever left. But I will say this, if they leave, I never feel bad because of our results. Like we've already proven it over and over again. You take a girl who has zero sales aspect. Her first week, she makes $5,000. Like you take a guy who has zero sales. Last week, Manny, like he was walking and knocking for years, and all you do is plug into the system. Some people it'll happen faster. Some it'll happen. Some it takes a little bit of time. It's his 3rd year. He's finally really getting it. He made $9,000 up front last week. Like, like I know enough to where it's like, hey, if you fail, it's simply because you're not plugging in, or it's your work ethic. It has nothing, or you just gave up too soon. That's how confident I am in knowing how our system and our PRA is high, everything. So it's like, it's it's pretty exciting. It's freaking exciting, man.
No, and I love it. And that's like Lee and I are talking about that all, our heads are literally down, and we're trying to navigate all this and really think like, how can we recruit in a way that really, we think the same way, man. And we have a very similar goal. And so I really respect what you guys have been able to do. And I respect your mentality as a leader. And I did make a note here that like, it seems like it's crazy, like tracking your experience, and you were down in the dumps, dude, and you made one. I mean, I think that doors open in our lives, and I don't think that there's only one or two, but I think like you said it perfectly, man. If I'm awake, I spent a lot of my life when I was younger asleep at the wheel of my life, and I had a mentor in my life tell me, he said, Zach, you're literally asleep in your own life. He's like, if you want to become the human being that you want to become, you have to be awake, and you have to be awake to the experiences. And And that's a huge thing of what I'm gathering for you. And especially, you were asleep at the wheel for a little bit, and then you reached out to Edwin, and then Pat became your coach. It seems like you were coaching people for so long, and you maybe had a mentor too. We haven't discussed whatever, but your main story from what I'm gathering is that you were the coach, you were the guy that was leading, and then finally you had a guy like Pat who, dude, I bought Pat's book after I mentioned on the podcast. Like, Pat's story is sick. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course,
and
of course.
You finally now have a guy that you can, and obviously now you guys are working together, but you had a guy mentor you, finally coach you. And so that's another message for the listeners too, is like, we all need somebody at some point to guide us, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And, now we've become, it's very rare when this happens, but we've become like so close. He's like a brother to me. He's like, we're best friends, and there's a lot of trust there. And it's a very mutual, like we each have strengths and weaknesses that we would bounce off each other to help. And he's completely helped just me, like, go from a person that had talent and ability to someone that is like can do so much more than just work off that talent and ability. Like, you could be like, if you're consistent, they're gonna do what you do, Nico. Like, he's always told me, like, dude, you're the influence. They're gonna do what you do. Just remember that. Like, you can have all the talent and ability in the world. Not everyone's gifted with that, but people are gonna do what you do. Like, so remember, when you're not working when you could be, when you're not building when you could be, when you're not showing up as your most powerful self when you could be.
Wow.
Just know it'll show up in the organization. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And he's like, we always call him, he's like the Phil Jackson coaching, he's a Phil Jackson of the alarm industry. He's one of the best trainers ever.
That's so sick.
And he's like, dude, he's like you're like the Jordan, and Jordan can pull the talent in. But if you don't show up, don't expect your teammates to show up, and and so he's like, he's pulling the best out of me always, and I hope I, do the same for him and in other areas. I used to call him a robot. He's just like, show up at this time, leave, or go to work, sell, go to sleep, wake up, and now he's like, he's changed a lot. Like, he's super fun. Like, he's just such a good dude. And we got something pretty powerful together. And more so now, it's like trickling in our organization, and we have groups of people that are just so powerful together, and it's pretty awesome to see. I'm excited to see what happens. But yes, going off of what he had mentioned, like wanting to be the number one and the best. And just like I told you, all I needed to do was see that someone else can do it, and I want to do it. And just like he told you, like, oh, Neil Rogers did 40 something thousand accounts in a year in his organization. Like, in that sense, we're both completely on board, lock in arms with our organization. Like, hey, we are going to build the most powerful door-to-door organization in the world. And that's the goal. And we have the system in place to do it now. So yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible too. And I'm gonna have a fun time watching it happen. And that's like, Todd Peterson, man. I hope to one day have him on here too. I hope he can bless us with some time. And I've watched some stuff on the internet about him, and he always talked about, not always, but there's been a couple times where he's mentioned how he was somewhat disappointed in himself because he was thinking small. And I love seeing a guy like him tell me he thought small. And now to see him comparing Vivint to, Google, Apple, and it gives us purpose at the door, because, I've asked this question many times on the podcast of where door-to-door is going to go. And it seems that it's the great, if you have a failing product, put it in somebody's hands that can knock a door. Like,
yeah,
if you got a product that ain't selling on the shelves, put it in somebody's hands and go let them knock a door. And So what about now? So, you guys now just signed up and you guys are back at Vivint. You're in the Vivint organization. So what was that kind of like for you guys, and what kind of like facilitated that decision?
Yeah, and I do want to say, because I want Edwin to listen to this, dude. I respect Edwin more than ever, as a CEO of our company, and giving me the opportunity to get into the industry or open my eyes up. For our organization, when we came over here, they just had a platform that was ready for us to build instead of slowing us down, because they've done it. They're everywhere, that mixed with the solar, like you can have best of both worlds. And then really just like being able to sell anywhere without, hesitation, without problems. And then just a future, with like where they're going. Todd Peterson came into the office. He's like, look, I'm looking for business partners, not people that are not just workers. I'm looking for business partners. And so it's like where his vision was, and just for the wholeness of our team and how fast we're expanding, this platform was set for us. On top of that, the product's freaking amazing. So, and so it was a really, really, it was a smart move. And with the leadership with Kenny and JT, the partners that brought us on, I think that it just gives us more bandwidth, so.
So easy, smooth
I'm
ride
excited.
over. Yeah, easy, smooth ride over to them too, right? Like, I mean, getting in the org is kind of money, right?
Yeah. So it really, it's really good for the long term of our organization, and for our reps. Before we're just, we're playing all these hats where it's like playing, technician, equipment pickup guy, tech scheduling, customer service for our reps, like this and that, all these things. It's like, shit, man, if I could just focus on what I do best, train, sell, and recruit, and Pat could focus on what he does best, train, sell, and recruit, and all our managers can do the same, it will grow at a faster rate, right? And so, I mean, this year, we started end of December, like the first 4 months, I'm just getting started on the doors, really. But like the first 3 months, I literally just, like, because I'm so clear where we're going, I was able to bring on, 1,200 accounts in 3 months worth of production and reps and leadership. So it gave me way more, clarity and focus on what I do best. And then everyone else now is going to give them the same at what they do best. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think the greatest thing the doors have ever, I shouldn't say this, but I'll say up until today, because I'm technically still in my rookie year, right? And so, I think the greatest thing the doors have done for me up to this point is allowed me to work with the end in mind. And isn't it crazy how, I don't know, man, it kind of blows my mind that we have, it's a purpose. And a lot of us, not that we never had purpose before in our lives, because music and production for me was my purpose for a very, very long time. And I had a bunch of friends now that shows are coming. I mean, that's what drove me in at door to door was, concerts and events literally went away in one day, and my company had to fold, and, it wasn't coming back anytime soon. Yeah. And all that, and I don't cry over spilled milk, and I take every opportunity in stride, and the opportunity to be with Lee literally fell in my lap. And I have a different type of purpose today. And even there was a show here in Vegas, which fills my heart with joy, because my boys are back working, and Dead Mouse played downtown. There was 10,000 people there last night. And, they were like, I had a thing to do with a buddy of mine, so I didn't get to go, but, all my friends were like, are you going to come back? I'd say I have a pretty solid name in that industry. And,
yeah.
And I literally was like, no, absolutely not. Like, no, I'm not going to give the opportunity. I'm not going to give. No, I mean, I love it. I love production forever. And I'm never outside of having a future business venture. But this is like, I have a purpose today, like what you're discussing. It's like, and we give purpose to other people. And then we support from, we lead from the front, and we support from the back. And, it's the way that you're explaining. It's really incredible, because it's like, the ripple effect, and I was talking to Bodie about that, man, the ripple effect is just unprecedented, man. And this is that thing that like from JT to Bob, every single person that's been on this podcast that's been in the industry 10, 20 plus years, whatever, has always said, just don't leave. Like if you just don't leave, and that's the thing I've been telling a lot of our new reps is I'm trying to recruit more and more people. Is like, it's about attraction, not promotion, really, is what you're saying. And literally I just say, look, just give us a year. Right. Because as you're saying, some people, I got a guy, Jeff May, who's an older guy. He comes from the corporate world, but he wanted to switch it up and he switched it up. He's hitting 3 ACs a day right now. And just all of a sudden it just clicked, right? It just clicked. And you're watching and you're like, yes, you're like so pumped for them. You're like, and then other people like myself, it takes a little bit, I'm one of those guys.
But then on top of that, the big thing is like, there's other people out there that won't necessarily relate to your story or my story, but you're a guy that took a little while and it clicked, like they'll relate to that. Like I was saying about Jordan, it took him 2.5 years or 2 years and then boom, now he's the top rep on our team, and then like Pat, like not everyone's going to relate to Pat coming in hot and, selling, getting rookie of the year and then selling 300 counts, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Or myself. Recruiting, and hitting these levels, but they will relate to someone on the team if you just don't quit. Like that's the thing. It's like your organization will be built off of a bunch of people that just that never gave up. That's where the fucking magic happens.
You brought up that word grit, man, and that's become like my favorite. I almost want to like trademark the word because it's just become like my favorite. And Casey said something, man, that and Lee says it to me often. But Casey says, don't overestimate what you can do in a year and underestimate what you can do in 5. And I have a goal I'm 31. I have a goal by 35 of what I want to make a year. And this literally will, with the help of helping other people, it'll get, exactly what you're preaching is exactly what I experience and I can see. But there's this, people, I had a guy recently working for us who's a really good friend of mine. And he's like, yo, my wife doesn't want me to do this. She wants me to go back to do this other thing. And we're going over his numbers and we're like, you're literally going to make half because you want to go work for a career job, which I respect it, man. Listen, and I tell him all the time. I got another friend who's working for me who's like, I might go back to the hotel and he's like, I don't want you mad at me. I'm like, listen, man, you're not taking any money off the table for me. I'm not going to make any less money if you leave. I don't want you to leave, but if you can't, I'm not going to sit here and beg you to stay. I'm also not going to convince you of why you should stay. We're going to show you, and I've been showing you for months now, and exactly what you said. And a buddy of mine who was just crushing it here is like, I got to go back to do this job. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Because as Bodie said, JOB just over broke, I got to go back to that because it's comfortable. Right. Mm-hmm. And I've been there, man. And that's like the thing that I guys like Pat and Lee, and then, we can go up the tree, but all the way to Todd. But there was a few months there where I changed everything about the pitch and I just and Lee never once called me and said, you suck. What are you doing? Yeah. Like you need to do. No, he never said that.
Yeah.
He would call me and he'd be like, everything all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Cause I can't see what I can see until I can see it. Right. And you can put a mirror in front of my face all day long, but until it becomes my actions and becomes clear to me what the issue is. And then I go and I hit the goal that I wanted to do, which is 5 solar deals in a week. And I did that the first week of May. And I'd been working for that goal for so long that I just realized what accomplishes the goal. Because I'm not like you, right? I didn't see it the way you saw it with Pat. Like I was like, I'm the smartest guy in the room. This is my ego talking. And I know that I don't care how much Lee's making $1 million a year. I don't give a shit. I don't care Pat's making $1 million. I don't care that you guys don't really know, right? I know.
Yeah.
And I know this pitch isn't right. And I'm going home talking to my girlfriend thinking like, oh, I'm a hot shot. I'm going to do. No, dude, you know what got me 5 deals in a week was knocking 6 to 7 to 8 hours a day for 6 straight days. That's what got me 5 deals in a week. It's not about how great I am at the door, because like what Casey said, your grit and your dedication, plus your experience that you learn and how to overcome objections. And like you said, we all go through it. We're sleeping, thinking about objections. We're sleeping because we want to just be a better guy at the door. Right.
Exactly.
And so enough about me, but go ahead.
That's the thing. And there's something about it when you just show up every day as your best self, or just wanting to be better. There's something about it. The law of attraction just finds its way to you. You know, Pat was going at it for a while, and then, you know, I realized, like, I just saw it in him. I'm like, dude, if people saw what I see in this guy right here, like, we're going to build something massive. And same thing with you. It's like, you just went at it, and then it just happened, you know, like, it just attracted to you. Like, it's crazy what happens when you just like give your best every day, no matter the outcome, like what will be attracted into your life, you know? And man, it's been that's pretty awesome. So you did that in May 1st, you said?
Yeah, the first week of May, I sold 5 in a week, which has just been a goal that I've been. I mean, because, you know, listen, it was you brought it up, man. You've hit a lot of pain points with me, which I love that. Where it's like, you know, there's been times. I mean, I'm 31, dude. I have a really good life. I have a beautiful girlfriend. Like, you know, I have a really, really good life, and doors have only made my life even better. And I'm like you. I've always known what I'm going to do and the age that when I'm going to do it. And I've been telling myself the only thing I never did, which I wanted to do, was get a Grammy by 30, but I just gave that up.
A Grammy.
I wanted a Grammy by 30. I just gave it up at 22, but that's the only thing I've never achieved. Everything else I've achieved that I wanted to do. So, you know, I you know, and what I'm getting a lot out of what you're talking about, especially with this, just like, my question, I think right now is like, where does Nico see Nico in 10 years? Like, where do you think, you know, in the next 5, 10, like where, you know, you're 32 now, where do you think you see yourself?
I mean, in 5 years, I definitely see myself as a VP over at where I'm at now. I just, where they're heading, and I just think that it's, you know, I also see myself speaking more, not to speak, but to just help people, like, just pull something out of people that, you know, just pull it out of them that, like, man, you can have everything you ever wanted in your life. You just need to stay inspired. Like, I think that's the goal. I really do want to go and travel and speak and help people and help transform people's lives in that way, whether it's knocking doors or not. I think this has really helped me, you know, in that aspect. At 40, man, it's hard to say. It's like, I'm just here I'm enjoying every minute of it. I can't see that far. I know that for me personally, I know, like, me and my family, and like, and the people that stick around now, our lives will be taken care of. So I think at that point, you know, like, you know, starting my own, like, you know, some type of youth foundation for underprivileged children. I love kids. I think obviously kids are our future, right? So I think that creating some type of charity or organization that, like, you know, in third world countries, or even just like underprivileged children, and getting educated. And like, I really like the idea of what Casey has going on. I'd love to teach entrepreneurship at that time, as I'm evolving and learning and getting better with my finances, and where I put money, and how to take better educated guesses, and this and that. And I think I'll just be like just continue the entrepreneurship route, you know, and help others. I think that's it. I think at that point, it's like, you know, what else can you really, you know, really ask for besides sharing it with the rest of the world? Like, once you get it, it's like, okay, let's teach others how to get there. And so I think that's where it's going.
Yeah, I love that, dude. I love that. I really like that. So one thing I do want to touch on is, and it means a lot to me because, Casey's got me reading a lot of books just from his purely from his influence and just trying to get as much knowledge as possible. And, Bodhi really pushed me to change up my schedule, my habits. So like, what's like your current living habits, man? Like, what are your daily rituals? Like, what's like your best practices for success? I think is really important for the people that are listening.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Pat got me really into the Joe Dispenza. I think I went with him to the week-long retreat, and Jeremy Muriello, and me and Jeremy just went to the advanced follow-up not too long ago, about a month ago, a couple weeks ago. And so I really like to wake up, just get into a state of like gratitude, do my meditations. If I don't do it in the morning, I find a way to do it. I have to hit the gym. And so gym's important to me. Getting into a state of gratitude, doing my meditations would be the main three in my morning routine. And then from there, it's whatever needs to be done. And that's like whatever needs to be done, that's it. If it needs to be me going out and selling, if it needs to be me going out to Utah to go show a guy and recruit him, if it means, I need to go to Houston, or I need to go lead the splits out, or whatever it needs to be done, like I'm all in. Like I'm here to build something, not just, I want to build something massive. I really do. So that's it.
I mean, I do have to let everyone listen know that like you are in Laredo, Texas, which I had to Google because I had no clue where that was. And then the fact that we tried to get you on, you had some stuff going on this morning, and so you tried, you're like, we rescheduled to push it back a little bit, and then your hotel Wi-Fi sucked, and then you're like driving around Laredo looking for good Wi-Fi, and you find it at Starbucks, and it's been great this whole time. And shout out to you, man, for doing this for me and the listeners, more importantly. But shout out to Zoom, for making this podcast possible. Yes. I will, one day I hope I get to meet somebody at Zoom to thank them, because they've really done it. But I don't really have much else to add, man. And I'm going to say this, like I'm honored, man, that, it's crazy what this thing's doing, and more and more people are listening. And it just blows my mind, dude. I'm just in gratitude to you guys and indebted to you guys and especially you, Nico, for just, it's the first time meeting you, and, I didn't know what this thing was going to be. I just knew I had to make some content, and it's really started to change my life. And even it's organically becoming something other than what I'd expected to, which I just love it. And I just want to say thanks, man, for, for being on today. And, I hope I can get you and Pat in here one day. You know what I'm saying? That would be a sick deal to get you live.
Yeah.
But
100%.
I just really appreciate it, man.
Yeah. And I will say one other thing. I did in the beginning of this year, when we came over to Vivint, we had a room of 40, 45 people of our team. And I asked everyone, I was like, who's been here with us since 2018? Stand up. 2 guys stood up. That was when me and Pat started working together, right? I said, from the people, 2 standing up plus me and Pat, who was recruited directly by one of these 4 people in 2019? Stand up. They did. And I said, from every person standing up, if you were recruited from someone standing up in this room, please stand up. And that was the rest of the room. And so the reason why I did that, the reason why I had that, and then I had them sit down, and then I did another one. I said, like, I don't remember what it was, but basically the whole point of them doing this little practice real quick was to show them, like, your life can change tremendously in a short amount of time. Like I said, I was depressed, broke, didn't know what I was going to do with my life, living back home at 29 years old. And now I'm my whole entire life has changed. And I give so much credit to that, just to get out there, be open to opportunity, like have a good attitude, and be willing to give your best every single day, your best foot forward. And like, honestly, everything else will everything else will be taken care of. Like the universe will take care of the rest. And I for people that are out there listening to this podcast, like, you might be struggling right now, or you might have been struggling for a while, or whatever the case is. Do those couple things and like just give it some time and just continue being your best. You're only going to get better. You're only going to grow. You're only going to learn from your mistakes, and your life will turn around tremendously.